Hello guys, this is Amol Khedkar. I welcome you to this video. You might have heard about this day which is called Juneteenth recently. I mean, even if you are in India or anywhere else in the entire world, with the entire racial protests that are happening all over America, Juneteenth is really something that has come into the forefront because Trump had a rally scheduled during this day, and he has rescheduled that rally because he doesn't want it to have at Juneteenth. You might be wondering what exactly is Juneteenth. So I will tell you exactly what is the history behind this, how racism started in America, and many other things. So a lot to learn. So please don't forget to watch this video right till the end. And before we get started, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel because nobody is going to give you these kind of detailed analyzed videos on a daily basis. Please don't forget to subscribe. Let's get started. So this is an article from the New York Times, as you can see. So it says you want to learn about Juneteenth. On June 19th, 1865, enslaved African Americans in Galveston, Texas were told they were free. Now, 155 years later, people in cities and towns across the US continue to mark the occasion with celebrations. Literally 155 years later, even today, racial tensions are boiling over in America. So I've always said in my videos, you go and watch my videos on my channel, you will understand why I've been saying that America has a long history of racism. Just I'm not the only one saying this. For 155 years, people have been fighting for equal rights in America. So when I say that America is the most racist and most violent country in the entire world, I'm not wrong. For literally more than a century, people have been fighting for these kind of things, and even today, a black guy is killed by a white police officer by kneeling on his neck. So yeah, nothing new that is happening in America right now. Like something like this has been happening for centuries and centuries. America is a very racist country. It has a very racist past. Juneteenth, an annual holiday commemorating the end of slavery in the U.S., has been celebrated by African Americans since the late 1800s. So this day commemorates the end of slavery in the U.S. But then, why did Martin Luther King, revolt in 1960s? Then, why do you think right now people are revolting? Because they don't have equal rights. Because America is a very racist country. So, do you really think racism ever got eliminated in America? In my honest opinion, no. It never went away. It is still very happening, and right now it is rife in the American political landscape. But in recent years, and particularly following nationwide protests over police brutality and the deaths of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and other African Americans this year, there is a renewed interest in the day that celebrates freedom. So just these three people are mentioned here, but there are countless other brown and black people that are killed in America on a daily basis, but they never get mentioned. And because George Floyd protests literally went so big, and literally all over the globe people are toppling statues, that's why this has become a very important thing nowadays. But other than that, June 19th comes every year, but nobody seems to care about why exactly do we celebrate this Juneteenth sort of thing. This year's celebrations may resonate in new ways given the sweeping changes and widespread protests across the US. Trump had planned to hold a campaign rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma on the holiday June 19th, but later Friday night, Trump, bowing to pressure, announced that he would delay it by one day. So he had said that he is going to hold a rally on June 19th, but even this guy felt that this is very shameful. I mean, Trump. It's very hard for Trump to feel shame because he's so thick-skinned, to be honest with you. But even he felt shame that he should not hold a rally on Juneteenth in Tulsa in Oklahoma, which is again a southern state. Do you know Tulsa in Oklahoma? They literally have KKK rallies over there, Ku Klux Klan rallies over there. There are white majority areas. There are white supremacist people hanging around in Oklahoma on a daily basis. I have been to Oklahoma. I have seen black people over there telling each other that don't go outside after 7 p.m. People are scared for their lives. So here's a brief guide to what you should know about Juneteenth. What is Juneteenth? On June 19, 1865, about 2 months after the Confederate General Robert E. Lee surrendered at Appomattox, Virginia, Union General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston, Texas to inform enslaved African Americans of their freedom and that the Civil War has ended. So this all goes back to the Civil War that started in America in 1861, that was fought between the Unionists and the Confederates. So the Unionists won, and that's why it's now called United States of America. Otherwise, it would have been called Confederate States of America. So, to be honest with you, people always distort this fact that Unionists was somebody who opposed slavery and Confederates was somebody who did not oppose, slavery. But the fact is very very different from that. Uh, Slavery was just like a byproduct of the Civil War. So nobody was really interested in the black people being free. That's just my honest opinion. I have researched this topic very properly, and I have started this podcast because I want to give my honest opinions. So even Abraham Lincoln did not want slaves to become free, but that was just a byproduct of it. So people always try to distort it by saying that the North was opposed to slavery and the South was for slavery, but that's not the case. Okay. Both of them were fighting for their own self-interests, and slaves were just like a byproduct of it. So, General Granger's announcement put into effect the Emancipation Proclamation, which had been issued more than 2.5 years earlier on Jan 1, 1863, by President Abraham Lincoln. So, Abraham Lincoln, you might have heard this name. He was the President of America during the Civil War in 1861 to 1860, I think, 9. So, this guy was a very, very influential, and he is a very well remembered president in American history. But many people don't know that even Abraham Lincoln had slaves in his house. So, nobody is very pure in all of this madness. I just want to get this out there because people always try to say that Confederates were the bad people and the North were the good people. No, it's not like that. History is much more complicated than that. The holiday received its name by combining June and 19th. The day is also sometimes called Juneteenth, Independence Day, Freedom Day, or Emancipation Day. So you can see the Juneteenth parade in Austin in 2011. So this has been, parades have been happening on Juneteenth all across America for a long, long time. How is it celebrated? The original celebration became an annual one, and it grew in popularity over the years with the addition of descendants, according to Juneteenth.com, which tracks celebrations. The day was celebrated by praying and bringing families together. In some celebrations on this day, men and women who had been enslaved and their descendants made an annual pilgrimage back to Galveston. So, Galveston is a place in Texas, and many people who were enslaved in the Civil War, because as you know, America definitely had slavery, and recently a senator in the US Senate said that America created its own form of slavery. So, America has been a racist nation for long, long time. Nothing new here. So that's why these people go to Galveston to so the people who were enslaved, or the descendants of the people who were enslaved, they go to Galveston to commemorate this. Celebrations reached new heights in 1872 when a group of African American ministers and businessmen in Houston purchased 10 acres of land and created Emancipation Park. So I've been to this place. There's a place called Emancipation Park, and that is like a place to commemorate the Juneteenth celebrations. The space was intended to hold the city's annual Juneteenth celebration. Today, while some celebrations take place among families and backyards where food is an integral element, some cities like Atlanta and Washington hold larger events like parades and festivals with residents, local businesses, and more. Galveston has remained a busy site for Juneteenth events over the years, said Douglas Matthews, who has helped coordinate them for more than 2 decades. He said the city usually has about 15 events, including parades, barbecues, musical performances, and a beauty contest beginning in the first week of June. Combined, the events draw about 10,000 people in total, he said. So, why are people still attracted to this Juneteenth festival, right? Because even today they feel that they are not equal citizens in America, and that is exactly why racial protests are happening all across America. You know, I have lived in the US for 8 years of my life. I can tell you that racism is a part of daily life in America. It's nothing new. This year, there is only probably about 2 or 3 events because of the coronavirus epidemic. So, if you have forgotten, there is a coronavirus madness happening in America as well, along with this other things. We are just happy with the significance of our Juneteenth anniversary. So, there is this kind of rage nowadays all across America, right from like north to south, east to west, because of the George Floyd protests and the racial significance of all of these things. And that's why, if you have forgotten, there is also coronavirus madness. I also made a video on this channel which is titled as, a California man literally poisoned homeless people and filmed their reactions. I also made a video about how San Francisco is literally, reeling with homeless people and drug dealers. I've also made a video about Los Angeles and how it has literally become like a drug dealer's paradise. I have a playlist on my channel which is titled as This is America. Go and check the playlist out and you will understand what I mean. America is a very different country than what it used to be. So, and many people don't show you this kind of picture of America, but I believe in giving you the true picture and nothing but the truth. So, go and check that playlist out and you will understand what I mean. So, would it ever be be a national holiday? In 1980, Texas became the first state to designate Juneteenth as a holiday, though the recognition is largely symbolic. So in 1980, just look at the timeline. This happened in 1860 and in 1980. So literally like 100, more than 100 years after, Texas became the first state to designate Juneteenth as a holiday, though the recognition is largely symbolic. So even the recognition is pretty symbolic. So that's why I've been saying that racism never died in America. America has been a racist country for centuries, nothing to see here. Since then, 45 other states and the District of Columbia have moved to officially recognize the day. In 2019, New Hampshire became the latest state to declare Juneteenth a state holiday. On Tuesday, Governor Ralph Northam of Virginia said he would propose legislation to make Juneteenth a paid state holiday. Also, this month, Twitter and Square, a mobile payment company, designated Juneteenth as a company holiday. Jack Dorsey, the chief executive and founder of Twitter and Square, said the day was for celebration, education, and connection. Vox Media, Nike, and NFL have also made similar announcements, joining others in making the celebration a paid day off. I think most of these things are good, but to be honest with you, I think most of them are also very symbolic. Uh, People forget these kind of things very easily, and the fact that the death of a black man, you know, is wanting you do something like this just goes on to say that you didn't feel that something was wrong with the system even before this. You didn't feel that America is systemically a racist country even before this. So when many black people die, when many brown people die, only then you come to realize that we have something called white privilege, and everything is pretty messed up. But I don't buy this symbolic gestures, to be very honest with you. I would have been much more amazed if all of these things happened before people dying. That's just my honest opinion. But so far, it has fallen short of becoming a national holiday. As I said, it's not going to become a national holiday. There are several online petitions calling for the change, and Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont also called for it to become a national holiday in 2019 when recognized openly an activist in Fort Worth who campaigns for the cause. In 2018, the US Senate passed a resolution designating June 19th as Juneteenth Independence Day, but it has not yet reached the House. So nothing gets done in America. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so many things, many petitions go through the US Senate and US House, but nothing gets done as such. Why has Juneteenth become so important this year? So, why exactly is it so important, particularly this year? Following the film killing of George Floyd, a 46-year-old African American man who died in the custody of Minneapolis police last month, thousands of people around the US have poured onto the streets in protest. So this madness just happened last month. If you have not been keeping track of the time, we are living in such an amazing world right now that this just happened last month. This is not like 10 years back, but it almost feels like it's like years and years back. But yeah, this happened just last month, and that's why people are just pouring across the US on the streets. Mr. Floyd's name, as well as the names Miss Taylor, Mr. Arbery, David McAtee, and others, have become rallying cries for change across the country, effectively re energizing the Black Lives Matter movement. The change has come in waves. In Minneapolis, officials banned the use of chokeholds and strangleholds by police and said officers must intervene and report any use of unauthorized force. Democrats in Congress unveiled sweeping legislation targeting misconduct and racial discrimination by the police. The bill is the most expansive intervention into policing that lawmakers have proposed in the recent memory. Companies across the business spectrum have voiced support of the Black Lives Matter movement and have either suspended or fired employees who mocked Mr. Floyd's death or made racist remarks. So, as I said, most of these things are happening, but this will be very symbolic moment, and this will also pass. And nobody is also talking about the brown people that face racism, right? So this is all about the black people that face racism in America. But I'm a brown man. And I can tell you that even brown people face a whole lot of racism in America on a daily basis. Mark Anthony Neal, an African American studies scholar at Duke University, said there are some comparisons between the end of Civil War to current unrest, adding that this moment feels like a rupture. So definitely, American society is going through a very huge awakening right now, and I've been pointing out these things that America is in a deep spiral of decline since many days now. But people were laughing at me at that point, and right now you can see who is laughing now. The stakes are a little different, Mr. Neal said. Many African Americans, black Americans feel as though this is the first time in a long time that they have been heard in a way across the culture. So, as I said, African Americans have had this entire history of being segregated in the society. There were literally white only neighborhoods all across America. And even today, why do you think people are so angry? If civil war happened in America, if Martin Luther King Jr. Did what he was supposed to do in America, and why are people on the streets right now? Why are hundreds of cities just burning like anything? Why is that? Because nothing happened even at that time. It was just plain symbolic. Because America, Canada, these are white majority countries, and so nothing is going to happen there unless and until you literally fundamentally change the system. And I think, in my honest opinion, it's just not very easy to change the system fundamentally. And my honest opinion also is that multiculturalism as a weapon is used by many politicians to just further their agendas. So right now, many people are just using this Black Lives Matter movement to further their agendas because they just want to bank on it somehow. But nothing substantial is going to get done. Mark my words. I think Juneteenth feels a little different now, he said. It's an opportunity for folks to catch their breath about what has been this incredible pace of change and shifting that we have seen over the last couple of weeks. Why did the president's plan to hold rally on June 19th in Tulsa, Oklahoma draw criticism? So this moronic person who is called Trump, he was holding a rally on June 19th in Tulsa in Oklahoma, and he got much backlash for it. For the first time since the coronavirus outbreak shut down most of the country, Trump will return to the campaign trail. So this asshole is again going on having these campaigns. To be honest with you, I don't even understand why this person needs campaigns. Those are just like some sort of ego boost that he gets, and that's like a sort of theater that he goes there and performs. So it's just a plain shit show. He had planned a rally in Tulsa on June 19th in 1921. The city was the site of one of country's worst episodes of racial violence. So the Civil War happened in America in 1861, and in 1921, the city, which is the Tulsa in Oklahoma, was the site of one of country's worst episodes of racial violence. So even then, racial violence was a very dominant part of American culture. When white mobs attacked a wealthy black business district known as Black Wall Street, the mobs destroyed more than 1,200 homes and killed as many as 300 people. White mobs killed 300 people on June 19th in 1921. That's why this asshole doesn't want to come to Oklahoma, because that looks bad on him. The announcement drew ire from Mr. Trump's critics. This isn't just a wink to white supremacists, he is throwing them a welcome home party. Senator Kamala Harris of California tweeted, in response to the backlash, Brad Parscale, Mr. Trump's campaign manager, touted Mr. Trump's solid record of success for African Americans. So yeah, all of them are just trying to use this for some sort of political leverage, but I'm not going to detail about why exactly. I think all these politicians think, because all of them have their own agenda in furthering their narrative. So it's not something that I don't find there is integrity into this. I don't like to just do videos just for the sake of doing them. I think I've started this channel for the integrity and for the for voicing my opinions on the things that I really feel like doing. So I'll not comment on the things that I think lack integrity. And I think both the parties in America, whether it's Democrats or Republicans, lack a deep integrity. They have a very deep integrity issues, and so I will not comment on the politics in this madness. So I hope you learned something new about why exactly we celebrate Juneteenth and why is it so important, why America has such a racist past, why I've been saying that America is a very racist and a very violent country, why America has been having school shootings every year, every day, every month, why there are more people in America that have guns than any other country in the entire world, why literally people are on the streets in hundreds of cities in America, why there are curfews happening, why the coronavirus madness has just ravaged the entire of America, why all of these things are happening in America. I hope you might have got at least some answers to the questions. So if you like my analysis of this article, please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe to my channel for more videos like these. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye bye.